Alright. Stream's back up. We finished the last stream at... Oh, this means I'll have to ranked. Ranked. Let's see, we finished the last one. Alright, looks like we finished Diamond, about 9%. If you missed part 1, the goal is basically to get to Unreal with this, like, significantly less mechanics than anyone else does this rank. So currently we've been barely drifting, no air flips really, none of that, because we're only in Diamond. And I think in Diamond, well, we were only in Plat. Now that we're in Diamond, maybe about halfway through the Diamond we'll start to be able to drift a little bit, stuff like that. But in general, when we drift, we try to smash into the walls, stuff like that, because we assume that if we're drifting, we're probably making mistakes at this rank. So we're just showing that we can win with just basically game knowledge. Alright. So this map before, we basically just drove in a straight line on the inner line, and it's worked really well in Gold and in Platinum. We'll see how it works in Diamond. In Diamond we might sneak in 2 small drifts, because realistically they know where the drift button is in Diamond. But for the most part, we're just going to drive in a straight line. So, straight line, no drifting, no anything. As you notice, it's actually about the same speed going on the inside line as it is in the outside line with the boost pads. So we'll do 1 small drift and that's it. That's all we're allowed to do. No drifting around here, none of that. I'm just going to hover in the air. Here we're going to be allowed to drift because it's a big drift angle, but again, that's about it. Just 1 small, medium-ish sized drift. Then back to straight lines. And they all drift real smooth, even air flipping all through here. We're going to just do small drifts though. 2 small, we'll call them like baby drifts, where we do it for about, you know, half a second or less. Nothing long, nothing mechanical. Just small baby drifts every once in a while. Here, just straight lines though. Staying close to the inside edge. Again, 1 small baby drift, and that's it. Besides that, we're just kind of floating in the air. And again, they are drift, air flipping. They have a lot more mechanics than we have, don't get me wrong. But just occasionally, real small drifts like that is enough to in fact climb. Here we're getting close to 3 turbos, so we'll use 1 of them. They're getting nice drifts up through there. We'll just do 1 small one though. Nothing fancy. Same with here. Just 1 small little one. Again, maybe 1 small little one and that's it. We're just going to drive on the inside track. And we're just showing that you don't need any like, fancy drifting, side flips, you know, make flips. None of that. Just 1 small drift. That's all you need. Like that guy's air flipping, drifting through here. Very fancy. You don't need any of that. You just need 1 drift on the big turn areas. And that's about it. That should be enough to get us to 2nd place. Or 1st place if he doesn't have a turbo. So you go. 1st place with no more than like 1 or 2 small little half-second drifts. And that's in Diamond. I think about halfway through Diamond is when we're going to have to start using some form of drifting, but until we get to about mid-Diamond, I don't think we really need any real drifting. And potentially we could get all the way to Elite without any real drifting. We'll have to see. And we're giving them the benefit of the doubt that they can drift for about half a second sometimes. That's about it. Anything more complicated than that, we'll bump into a wall to slow ourselves down. And definitely nothing like chain drifting or any of that. And pretty well minimal air flips, if any. Like some maps it's like basically required, but for maps like this, all we're going to do is drive in a straight line for about 85% of the map. We'll drift in 2 separate spots that basically just require you to drift. I'm pretty sure if you didn't even press your drift button, it would force you to drift. But again, we're just going to float straight line. No drifting, no mechanics. Literally don't even have the analog stick on. And this is the only spot we're going to do a drift, because everyone from gold onwards was drifting in this section. But we're not going to drift through here. No chain drifts. Just driving in a straight line. Straight line tech is good enough to win at Diamond. We're not good enough to hit those boost pads. We got no mechanics. Maybe higher can't do the shortcut. We have no mechanics. In here, I believe they could do at least a small drift. We won't do anything fancy, but the tube literally curves. So, and again, we're just going to drive in a straight line. Straight line tech is good enough to win at Diamond. You don't have to do anything. I don't even have my hand on the other analog stick. Like I'm literally just racing in a straight line. This is the only section we're going to do one drift. And like, look how much faster it is than other Diamond players. We're not doing anything. We're just driving in a straight line. It's like the least mechanical you could possibly be. We won't even drift this, just to assume somehow that they can tap this very precisely to not drift it, which is tougher than accidentally drifting. But again, we're just going to drive in straight lines. We haven't even used a turbo yet. Straight line tech, a little overpowered. Use one turbo. I mean, we're allowed to use turbos, so don't get me wrong. Again, only spot we're drifting. One giant turn where it's almost impossible to not drift it. Besides that, we're not confident enough to be able to hit any of these boost pads, so we're going to skip them all. And this is Diamond. Just driving, straight lines, no drifting basically throughout the whole thing. That's all it takes. Just knowing a general route and how to drive in a straight line is enough to be winning at Diamond. Pretty solidly. That was 5 seconds faster. And all we did was drive in a straight line. Like, no side flips, down flips, no chain drifting, no regular drifting except for that one turn. Mostly not even driving side to side, just driving in a straight line. So, if you're watching this and you're Diamond, pay attention, because it's definitely possible to fly up through the ranks with basically nothing to your name if you just learn some of the basic routes. Matchmaking era, great buggy game. But I don't think you really need to drift or learn to air flip or anything until at least Elite. So if you're stuck in Diamond, just driving in a straight line for about 85% of the track is good enough to get you first place. Just knowing where to turbo. Pay close attention to where I turbo. This map's a little bit trickier. We're going to have to do some drifts. We'll do them as sloppy as possible. Anyone in the chat know if taking the outpost in Diamond is mechanical or not? Or is that not mechanical? Again, we're just going to drive in a straight line. Not going to drift. We're just going to float in the air. As unmechanical as possible. You forget that there's a wall here. Oh no, there's a wall. We'll bump into it. So, like, I have faith they know where the drift button is. Whether they can drift without crashing is a different thing. So, like, when we drift, we'll crash. Like, as much as possible. Or as much as even semi-realistic. Do one small drift, and that's about it. That's about all we're able to manage. It seems like the outpost is a little bit beyond the skill of Diamond players based on them going around. So we're going to drive, we're going to hit lava, we're going to hit walls, you know, because we're going to assume that that's what they're going to do every single time. Drive on the coals there a little bit. So if we're drifting, we want to make sure that we're drifting, like, poorly. We're driving all in the red. As bad as we can. Or here, bouncing off this wall. We're trying to give the least amount of mechanics possible. Again, here, we'll just do one small little drift. And that's about it. We're not going to do the outpost. We're in Diamond. Maybe that's a little bit too mechanical for Diamond. Instead, we'll just take here, do a little bit of a drift, and then we'll bump into lava, walls, and everything else in between. Because that's what they do. Right? Just run into a bunch of lava. If we're drifting, we're probably in lava. And like, you can see we're basically not drifting at any point here. And we're driving into lava when we are drifting or into walls. And it's enough to keep up pretty easily with anyone in Diamond. So again, we'll drift, we'll bounce off the wall, because that's what they do. And that's about it. Just driving in straight lines. We know about this shortcut, so it saves us some time. Real easy to do. You just kind of float your car up around it. There's a turbo around here. And we'll hit lava. As we said we're going to hit lava, we'll assume that they're always going to hit lava. And we just kind of float down. So we basically did the whole lap, minimal drifting. The times we did drift, we intentionally hit lava, we intentionally smashed into the wall, showing that you could pretty well just drive mostly in straight lines and still come first in Diamond. And if you want to drift, it's okay. If you hit the walls or lava, that's not even a problem. Give it a try. Doesn't really matter. It's just about, I guess, driving in a straight line and less risky strategies. Driving in a straight line can probably get you to Elite, I believe. Alright. On to the next one. You guys let me know if you think I'm doing anything that's too mechanical. Like if a Diamond player saw it, they'd be like, there's no way I could pull that off. Or even, that looks tricky. Everything I'm doing, I'm trying to make it so if any Diamond player watched it, they'd look at it and be like, yeah, obviously I could do that. That's the main goal of the series, is whatever rank you are, watching the video, being able to be like, oh yeah, I could obviously do that. Alright, so this one again, we're going to do nothing mechanical. We're going to drift very little. Like some sections we have to drift, but there's nothing we can do about that. Like, even if I didn't have the drift button bound, the game would force me to drift. So I can't do anything about that. I have to drift those sections. But in general, we're not going to do any chain drifting, any sneaky anything. Just gonna drive mostly in straight lines, and driving in straight lines is good enough to win at Diamond. You don't need any fancy mechanical flips or anything. So just straight line. Literally drive in a straight line. Here, obviously, they're going to drift. All we're going to do is hover in a straight line. Apparently, that's still mechanical because the guy just drove off into the Deathland. So we're going to bump into the walls as much as possible when we drift, because we're going to assume that they mess up every single drift. You know, somehow they can't land a single drift, they smash into every single wall. This, I don't think, is very mechanical. All it is pressing the single jump button and then letting your car fall. You don't do anything after you press jump. The car just ends up there. You just have to know to be able to press jump. Here, we're not going to drift on any of the tubes. That's too mechanical for trying to show. And we saved our turbos. So again, we can just float over, straight lines, no drifting. Literally no drifting at any point here. And then we drift around this turn because every single person will drift around that turn at this rink. We'll see if we can take this, like, with as little drifting as possible. Maybe none. Yeah, see, that wasn't even the drift button. The game literally forces me to drift. There's nothing I can really do about it when the game forces me to drift. So what we'll do instead is we'll smash into walls and drive on the coals to simulate not being able to drift because it's Diamond. We'll smash into like some walls or something. But all we're doing is pressing the jump button when we're on the way down, and it floats us down. So we're just going to drive. Basically no mechanics. We don't know how to drift. Like, everyone else at this rank will drift along those. We don't know how, because we're low mechanics. We're just driving in straight lines and turboing over aerial gaps. That's all we have going for us. Straight lines. And again, here we have faith that they can do one small drift. That's all we have the faith they can do. It's a giant area. Every single player in Diamond drifts there. Here, we're going to wait as long as possible to start drifting so that we don't get too much speed. Now on this one, we're going to bump into every wall possible because we're going to assume that they do that. Like, it doesn't matter how badly you drift as long as you go to drift. Again, just press jump and then just hover. There's no other buttons. You have lots of time. You're just chilling in the air. And then all the turbos we had saved, you just kind of drive along and then use them. Can't really get much less mechanical than that. We drifted almost nowhere throughout the whole map. And it's still 4 seconds faster. It's just knowing the spots to use the turbos. Alright. I'm just going to keep getting the first. And the next one. Yeah, I think it's maybe when you start getting elite that people start to know where to use the turbos. But until then, just knowledge of where to use them outspeeds basically every player. Even if you're like not doing anything. Sidewinder's a little bit tricky to do at low mechanics because like I don't know how to simulate messing up drifts. I was told earlier in the chat to do it without pressing the drift button is the best simulation. Because like, I don't know how we can get through Sidewinder without any mechanics. So we're going to not use the drift button. We're going to let our car auto drift around these turns. See, I'm just holding it and eventually it drifts. That's all we're doing. So we're just waiting, holding the button. And like, it's so much faster than everyone else at Diamond. I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm not pressing the drift button. In fact, we'll just drive up the wall here. We'll pretend we messed up. There you go. Like, Diamond, you can make lots of mistakes. And again, I'm not pressing the drift button. I'm just letting the car auto drift. So it's going to be very sloppy drifts. You know, we'll bump into walls intentionally here to like simulate even, to make it even harder. But it's mostly about where to use your turbos. And I guess not crashing. Like, again, I'm not using the drift button here. Just holding turn. And eventually a car turns. So all you have to do is mostly just drive in straight lines. Look at me go. I'm doing it. This is about all it takes to win a Diamond. You come near a turn and you just hold your turn button. You don't even need your drift button. I can't say too much else about Sidewinder, except for look at where I use my turbos. And again, you can see my car just drifting by itself. Like here it takes a while to drift because again, no drift button. But that's okay. You just drive and you're good to go. We could have used a turbo here since we're going to have another one by the time we get to the thing, but we should probably handicap ourselves even more because apparently playing without a drift button while intentionally bumping into walls is still a bit much for a Diamond. We'll drive on the sand here to slow ourselves down, make it a bit more fair. But again, we're not using drift button. All we're doing is holding our right stick, and the game forces us to drift. So I can't make it less mechanical than that for Sidewinder. Most of it's just driving in a straight line, though. And this really is fast enough to be able to win at Diamond. Like, again, I'm not pressing the drift button, I'm just letting my car drift as I turn. Just driving in straight lines. No drift button used a single time here. Just staying far away from the turn, like from the corners, so that when we drift in. And again, so if you mess up and you're driving on the ceiling, just don't use any inputs, and your car will straighten itself out over time. Looks like we're all good. We're just drifting along. And this seems like it is fast enough at Diamond. Just knowing to save your turbos at the end. Here, I'll mess up a little bit. I don't know if I could do that significantly less mechanical than that. If we're playing without a drift button, without jumping, without, I mean, like, we're jumping. But jumping's like such a basic mechanic that I can't play without it. But that's all it takes. We didn't use our drift button a single time. We drove into the walls intentionally several times. And that's what, and like that beats by 4 seconds at Diamond. So I think a lot of Diamond players are just trying to do too much. Doing less is plenty. After I finish this series, I'll probably do a one where I unbind my drift button and see if I can get to Unreal with no drift button bound. Because it's not like game knowledge, like watching other people play, like how I'm playing, is just as important as being mechanical or being able to pull off advanced stuff. Just knowing when to turbo, where to take risks, where not to take risks. Like Kiara and Diamond, right? They should be able to side flip and stuff. We're going to assume that for some reason you're in Diamond and you still haven't found the side flip button. Like, not completely, but like, we're going to assume that somehow you can't hit any of those. You know, maybe you can't even drift. You're just going to drive in a straight line. You don't know how to drift. We're going to actively avoid drifting, even though just holding this would drift it. And again, we're just gonna drive in a... Okay, I didn't do that, honestly. He bumped me into it. I was just gonna drive in a straight line. We're just gonna hover over here. We don't know how to hit that thing. We don't know how to flip up to the ceiling. Just driving in straight lines. I don't know how to hover over here. Hit one of the two, not both. We're gonna side flip here, but we're gonna miss one because we're too slow at reactions. Whoa, we missed. Whoa, we can't figure that one out either. How about this? Oh, can't do that one either. This is Diamond. Like, just not doing anything. Just driving in a straight line. I can't be less mechanical than just driving in a straight line. Not drifting. Or not doing any... Like, I'm intentionally not drifting. If I just held the stick, it would drift me. Again, we're just driving in a straight line. Like, is there a way I can make this less mechanical? Like, there's no way if you're Diamond and you're watching this being like, I can't do this. Like, let's assume we can hit none of these. Maybe we can get one. Like, oh, we did it. Like, I'm not taking any of the boost pads. I'm not throwing in drifts. I'm not doing anything. This is just faster than Diamond players. It's just driving. So if you're stuck in Diamond, maybe just do less. Like, drive in a single straight line here. Don't try to get more. You don't need to. This just is the speed of Diamond players. It's just mostly straight line simulator. And again, we could assume that they're able to side flip here, but let's assume they panic and they forget how to side flip completely. You know, they tried for that, they miss everything. And it's still way faster, right? Like 5 seconds faster. And like, we can't really get less mechanical than not side flipping, not drifting, just driving in a straight line. And that is Diamond. Anyone in the chat should let me know if you think I'm doing anything that's like tough for a Diamond player to do. I don't think so. Like, at some point, we might introduce drifting, but I don't really think you need mechanics, or like basically no mechanics are really needed until a decent guy, right? And obviously as we climb, like if we hit Elite or Champion. Okay, so Anaconda, it's tricky. We kind of have to drift, right? It's a drift map. So again, we're kind of in a situation where we have to actively bump into as many walls as possible. So every single time we drift, we're going to bump into a wall. So we're going to start by just hovering our car though in the air, like this car is doing right there. And then we're going to drift, and we're going to bump into walls, because we don't know how to drift. Okay? Again, bumping into wall. Okay, well, I tried to bump into the wall. The car blocked me. We're going to miss the boost pads, because we can't hit anything. We're low mechanics. We're just driving in a straight line. We're going to drift, and we're going to bump into walls, because we don't have any mechanics. We don't know how drifting works. Here's another wall. We bump into it. We got to bump into this wall, too. That's all fine. You know, we bump into every single wall, every wall that exists, and that is fast enough to keep up with Diamond players. Like, we have full turbos. We can also just not drift. We can just float in the air. floating in the air is fast enough to keep up with them. But again, we'll drift into the wall. All you have to do is press the drift button. It doesn't matter if you're lined up. Just like hold it into the wall. It's fast enough to beat Diamond players. Like smash into every single wall, drive on every bit of coal. Again, every single time, I'm just gonna just drive into the walls. I don't think I can get less mechanical than that. What do you guys think? Just kind of floating through the air, not drifting. Or when we do drift, it's directly into walls. I'm pretty confident that any Diamond player watching this can in fact drift into a wall. All we're doing is holding this down into the wall. All we did is hard. Yeah, I know it hurts my soul too, but like I don't know how to make it any less mechanical than to not even need to drift. You just kind of float. Floating's enough to win a diamond. You don't really need to be able to, like, I didn't have a single drift where I did not bump into a bunch of walls. No matter what level of mechanics you are, I'm confident that you can drift into a wall. And as long as you know where the drift button is, by diamond, you can drift into a wall. That's no problem. Thanks, Bernie. I heard a lot of people say that that they're stuck at their rank because they can't do the mechanics that they need to climb up, and I think a lot of that isn't true. Like I think you can without driving. No, I think it was actually going to be getting Unreal without the drift button bound. Was the next one I'm planning. I wasn't looking. 34%. Whoops. Oh yeah, so we're going to pull off our amazing mechanics of driving in a straight line without knowing how to drift. We're doing it. And again, we'll throw in like one small drift here, like for like 1/10 of a second. No, nothing more than... Like at diamond, they should be able to drift for like 1/4 of a second. And like right here where that guy drifts, we're gonna drift because this is a big turn. It's pretty hard to smash into anything. That's about it. No, anything more than that, like he's drifting the whole way. We're not gonna do any of that. We're just driving in straight lines, real unexciting. Maybe one small drift, and one small drift when we come out, and that's about it. That's about the level of our mechanics. Straight line, go burr. You really are just gonna say that every time. I mean, you're right though. Like, look at straight line, go burr. This is diamond. We're just driving. I don't know what to tell you. Just driving is enough in diamond. Like 1/4 of an inch drift. That's all we're gonna do. And like, I don't believe that you can't find. I don't remember being diamond such a low level. I know. And again, so here, this is a big turn. Like, we can't really bump it. We're even going to bump it just for sakes. Like, just pretend that we can't. Like, even if we mess it up somehow, it's fine. Although it's pretty hard to mess that up. That's not really realistic. The area is so big. But we're not going to drift any of this. Might be considered mechanical. Just one small, tiny little drift. That's all we're doing. And then again here. One small, tiny little drift. That's like really low mechanics, right? Like, we're just driving in a straight line. We're doing it. I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch, but like, just telling you, this is all it takes. Like we're only drifting for like 1 millimeter, right? Like, I can't do less mechanics than this. Like that's a tiny, that's a super tiny drift on a huge area that we could. And I don't know, like it's perfectly fine for Diamond. Like I don't know what else to tell you guys. I'm just gonna float through here. Again, one small little drift. One small little drift. And we'll use our turbos at the end. I mean, I don't know what, I don't know. I can't make it less mechanical than this with Diamond. I'm just driving in a straight line. Well, I mean, it'll probably be harder than no turbo, yeah. No turbo, I could be very mechanical. Yeah, that's what I said, Mr. the Muffin Man. That's what I'm gonna do. Drift button unbound. I think I could get to Unreal without the drift button. Which is a depressing statement to say, but... Only using one hand? I think I tried that before. It was really tricky, right? Because... Yeah. I'd have to film like doing that too, though. I get like a hand cam or something. Oh my gosh, we're back at it again. Another straight line. You guys are gonna be bored out of your minds. I don't. Hand cam would be necessary. One hand. I can do it. I don't know. One hand seems, I mean, it's kind of depressing, like, how doing nothing just gets you wins at Diamond. 35% boost. We're gonna intentionally make it as slow as possible, drive in a straight line. I don't even have my hand on the analog stick. We're gonna put it on just to do a little bit of correction, but that's about it. Just we're doing it. Again, 1 millimeter of a drift, and that's about it. That's about all we're capable of at low mechanics. This dude out here air flipping, and we're out here just driving in a straight line. Look at him drifting. What the heck? Okay, so again, we'll do one small drift, and that's all we're doing. Besides that, we got nothing. Sit behind him if we can for the draft. And then we'll take this as a tighter turn. So 1/10 of a second. And 1/10 of a second. That's all we're capable of. Again, I have my hand off the controller. Like my left hand. I just put it back on to do some adjustments. Like, it's just straight lines. I can't do anything less than this. I have not tried it on mobile. That sounds miserable, though. Notice our speed, by the way, though. It's not 570. It's still going up. All we're doing is just driving on the ground. Which is enough to increase our speed over time. So our minimum speed is above everyone else's because we're driving in a straight line. Again, 1/10 of a second drift. And 1/10 of a second drift. That's about all we're able to do at this rank, which is Diamond. And then again, we're back to straight lines. We don't have to drift. We don't know how to drift. No one, like... I don't know what rank we unlock drifting, not gonna lie. One tiniest millimeter of a drift. That's all we can do. What rank do you think it's allowed to, like, do a little bit of, like, a little bit more drifting than this? Because again, we're only doing it, like, these big turns. Like, that one big turn is the only place we really do a drift. And even then, it's only for, like, not even a second. I guess we'll use our turbos. Yeah, how are they so far behind? I don't know. Like, That's what I'm saying. Diamond isn't very fast. Again, one tiny little drift. Turbo. We're gonna say we can't drift because, you know, that's a lot of speed we got from the turbos. We're a little freaked out. And high elite low champ to be able to start to drift? What do you mean? No, I'm not chain drifting. Are you kidding me? I'm talking about, like, when can I start doing little baby drifts? Like, more. Like, I'm only sneaking in a couple little baby drifts right now. And it's 5 seconds faster. I mean, we'll see. There's no way a Diamond player watching this isn't like... Wait, like, I don't get it. Like, you're just driving in a straight line and that's fast enough? Alright, what map do we get next? Yeah, like, some of the maps we have to... The longer drifts? No! Dude, I can't do... What? It just kicked me out of the game. Hopefully that doesn't count as a loss. What the heck was that? There's no way we can do longer drifts at 60 to 70% D1. We're only doing smallish drifts. Like on Sidewinder, some of them you have to, but like, that's about it. I think I need to talk to more Diamond players though and find out where they get stuck in Diamond. Like what is it? Or watch their gameplay. Like what are they doing wrong? Did I just get 2% for a win? I hope not! You want me to 5 times the length? What the heck? Alright, so again, we're just gonna kind of drive in a straight line and not drift because that's like somehow fast enough to beat all Diamond players. We don't know side flips really, like we kind of know the concept of them. So we don't feel comfortable doing it on any of those because somehow we're Diamond and don't know how to side flip. We're not going to drift because somehow we're Diamond and we don't know how to drift. We're just going to drive in a straight line. We don't know how to go up and down. And we're just going to hover over here. Do we go for that? No, because we don't know how to side flip. I mean, like, we kind of know how to side flip, but, you know. I'm just going to float around. And do we side flip for those? Oh no, we should have though. How about here? Ugh. We don't know how to side flip. We don't know how to drift either. Man, Diamond's tough. I guess we'll just keep driving in a straight line. Oh boy, we're really pulling out all the stops here. Look at us go. Look at us not drift. Look at us driving a straight line. We're cracked. Again, we can't side flip because somehow we're in Diamond and don't know how to side flip. Attached walls. Even though at Olympus, I'm pretty sure it's impossible. So we definitely know how, but I don't know. For some reason, we forgot all of our mechanics on this route. So straight line tech is where it's at. And the real question you have to be asking yourself is, where are the other Diamond players? Like, seriously. We haven't drifted once. We haven't side flipped once. We haven't turboed once. We're just kind of driving in straight lines. I don't think it's like humanly possible to get less mechanical than this. start considering using our turbos. You know, we still don't know how to side flip somehow, so I guess we'll just drive over here and do none of that. And I don't know, I guess that wins the diamond. We did it! By 3 seconds. I kind of wanted to do one where it would only show me the game once every like 5 seconds or something like that. So I kind of have to do it mostly blind. Yeah, I don't think we could get any lower mechanics than not drifting and not side flipping. We didn't even do our like little baby drifts. We just drove in a straight line. And that's enough to still crush Diamond. I am sure at one point Diamond will step up. Like I from what I've been told, Diamond 3 is like a really big gating point for people. So maybe it does just like jump up in difficulty as we go. But for now, most of these maps, I mean, there's no way anyone my like this rank, like Diamond, watching this would be like, I can't do that. Okay, Airborne 1, we're gonna do a couple of the baby drifts. We have to, right? Like, we're in Diamond, I know where the drift button is. We're just gonna do real small ones. Except for one spot, which is like really big and there's no walls to crash into. So the first baby drift we're gonna do is right here. We're only holding it for like no time at all. And then we're gonna drift here. We even get a bump into the wall because somehow, despite being Diamond, we crash into every wall in existence. He drifts, we don't know how to drift. We're low mechanics. We're gonna drift around here. Again, just bumping into this wall because somehow we're so bad at drifting that every time we drift, we just crash. And then baby drift. Again. Oh no, we didn't learn our lesson from the last time. So we still continue just to crash into the rail. The guy in first seems significantly faster. I mean, look at him drift along here. So I don't think we're going to come first with no mechanics, because I think he's pretty decent. But we'll see. We'll copy his little baby drifts that he's doing. And again, we still didn't learn to drift, so we crash into the wall. It is what it is. Maybe we'll do one of these tiny little ones. That's about it. That's all we're capable of. Alright. So, basically not drifting on Airborne 1. Or when we do, run into walls. It's still enough to do perfectly fine at Diamond. Have a good one, Muffin Mint. Like, is it considered smurfing if I, like, basically don't drift? Or don't use air flips? Like, I don't think it is, right? Like, it's not like me playing. It's me with broken legs playing. I can't reach the gas pedal. Alright, so again, we're going to do the straight line tech because I have faith that Diamond players can drive in a straight line. I don't think that's too much of a bar to ask. It might be. But who knows? So straight line. We're doing it. So everyone can drift here at this rank, but just to be safe, we're still going to crash into the walls every single time because we're the only one that doesn't know how to drift because we are low mechanics. So every drift, we accidentally smash into a wall because we don't know what we're doing. That seem reasonable? It's not like we don't know where the drift button is at Diamond, we just can't drift because we're low mechanics. Oh no! Those people are a lot faster, huh? Look at them go. Okay, we'll just do a small drift, not enough to actually be able to crash into anything. We're going to go on top because going on the bottom part is very mechanical for some reason. Again, we're just going to crash as much as possible on sides of roads. Might actually be slower than not drifting, but we're going to assume. And again, driving a straight line. Like, I'm positive that Diamond players can drive in a straight line. Even though they don't crash, we're going to bump a wall each time. Because somehow our low mechanics, we got the Diamond and we can't not hit a wall every single time. Like, driving in the coals really slows down your car. Just a small one so we don't have enough space to actually even crash if we wanted to. And even though the bottom side is... yeah, see, they do it too. I'm not just making fun of them, they actually do crash and bump into the walls. Like, look how mechanical that is compared to what we're doing. Like, side flipping all over. Us, we have straight line tech. Vroom. Vroom. There we go. We bounced into a wall every single time. First place is quite a bit ahead, so I don't know if we're going to be able to beat him. Just bump into some walls. No one has ever messed up there, so we're not going to just crash for crashing's sake. But alright, we'll take a second without drifting a single time without crashing into a wall. Not much we can do about that. Yeah, you really don't gain that much experience, eh? Maybe we do need to be taking firsts. I think sometimes we should drift without crashing into a wall. Because they don't crash into a wall every single time. Like, It feels a little excessive to assume that by diamond you still crash 100% of the time into the wall. Maybe we'll crash into the wall like 75% of the time. Make it a bit more balanced. That sounds good? All right. Alright, wind away again. We don't need to do too much on this map. I think we drift 3 times. You have to hit the hazard at least one time? I mean, depending where the hazards are. If they're anywhere near us, sure. If they're not even remotely near us, well, we're not going to hit them. But on that map, sure. Like, there's some hazards that are believable we could hit. So, I don't know if they know where to turbo on this map yet. So, they always drift right here, so we're going to drift over here. They can drift this perfectly fine. They can also drift in there, but I'm going to assume they can't. So we're going to play it safe and just hover our way around. Because hovering's a lot less mechanical and you can't get mixed up in the tunnel. We do one baby drift, and then only drift around here. Because again, everyone can drift around here at this range. And then we're just going to float. Floating isn't mechanical. Like, if you know how to pull back in your joystick, you can do this at any rank. We're going to get somewhere in the middle, and then drift. There's like literally nothing around us to crash into. And then back to straight line tech. Like, there's nothing to it, right? Do one baby drift, and that's it. We even bump off here this time. Make it a little bit more balanced. Won't hit it every single time, even though that's a really easy one. As you can see, we haven't seen anyone mess that up yet. And again, we just drift somewhere in the middle. There's like nothing near us on either side by like a massive amount. So like you can't really consider that not allowed. There's nothing to crash into. Minimal drifting, mostly just hovering in the air. Again, one small drift, and that's all we're capable of. Mess that up a little bit, it's fine. You know? Doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be aware that you need to do some form of a drift there. Straight line, be somewhere in the middle of the section so you can't really crash into anything, and then drift. There you go. That's all it takes to win a diamond. Yeah, like by 3 seconds. I'm like, not really doing anything. We're barely drifting anywhere. Like the places we're drifting, definitely everyone's drifting because you basically have to. And there we go. Yeah, one way is going to be a little bit trickier, considering I'm about 25 seconds faster on my main. I don't know when people get faster at this map, though. But we're getting close to Diamond 2. You know, I think we're allowed to do a little bit of drifting. I've been trying to. I haven't got a ranked game in 3 days. I've dropped from 43 to 60 because I literally can't get games. And somehow other people are, and they're bumping me down. kind of frustrating, to be honest. I've been putting practice time in though, like to do certain maps. I've got like a few seconds faster to a few different maps. Like now when I die on Outpost, I'm faster than I was not dying on Outpost. Okay, so we're in Diamond. What are we allowed to do on K2? Like... Can we drift this? Looks like it. Is this too mechanical? We're not really doing anything. We'll bump into the side of the road or something. We're not carrying our drift. We don't know how to do that. Somehow we still haven't found out about the carrying the drift button in game, so we're just going to drive in a straight line and then do a drift around this turn. Is this mechanical? I won't even drift this section. Just small little drifts. Drift, jump, don't get the speed. Drift, jump, don't get the speed. I can't really do that without holding the drift button. It's too crazy. I know, right? Like, being able to hold it, super unmechanical, but I don't know. I think I'm still going to get hate if I do it, so I just won't. I'm not going to drift anywhere in here. This drifting is tricky, supposedly. Again, so drift, jump, and I guess turbo. I mean, that was pretty unmechanical, right? Did I do anything that was tricky? I don't think so. You get a 152. Like, that's a crazy slow time. I don't know. Okay. We're not carrying the drift in the air. I mean, I guess we air flip to get the boost pad. But, like, I'm pretty positive they can do that at this rank. And I think my main's a lot harder to play with because a lot of the top players have given up. But again, no. So again, the goal isn't if they found out about the technique. It's can they do it? Like if I told a Diamond player, hey, just hold your drift button in the air, would they be able to do that? And if the answer is yes, like can they jump up in the air? Yes. I might not know about that shortcut, but if I told them it, I'm sure they could do it. Hi, Air2. We're going to mostly just drive in straight lines. We don't know how to downflip, so we can't hit all those. We're just driving in a straight line. And again, I'm not even going to press the drift button. The game literally just drifts me when I turn around here. So like, doing this without the drift button, like, you can't really get less mechanical than... And we're in the air. There's nothing for us to crash onto. Like, what could we even realistically die on here? All we're doing is kind of floating around the map. I mean, I'll take a... You can add me. Where do you want to add me? On Epic? I'm surprised you would like watching the content if you're not a Rocket Racer fan. Again, we'll just try to mess it up as much as possible. Yeah, feel free to add me. I don't play Fortnite though. Probably want to add my main of Lane Racing though. Like, we're not doing anything mechanical here, right? Like, are we missing something? We're gonna pretend we can't hit that because we hit the first 2 boost pads. Drive on the coals. Like, it's really just hovering around the map. And that's easily enough to crush at that. Oh, I'm glad you like them. Yeah, if you're into Rocket Racing, I'd say to join the Discord. But if not, it's probably not worth your time if it's not something you play. Yeah, I'll add you back when I switch back to my main. So we did that all without pressing the drift button, without air flips, without anything. Like, we literally didn't use a single mechanic in Diamond, and we still easily come first. Like, not even drifting. And they know how to drift in Diamond, like, in theory. So, I don't know. At some point we'll do a little bit more drifting, but for a lot of the maps, I think just knowing the faster route is good enough to be able to take first every single time. Alright, sounds good, Archie. I think it's going to kick me up. This is a long time loading. I'm expecting like network error. Oh, not enough players joined? That's a new one for Diamond. Hit that sometimes on my main, but not on Diamond. Yeah, getting close to Diamond 2, still coming first or second every single game, with often not even using drift, not using air flip, also just driving, in fact, in a straight line. I guess I should have named this perk 2. Unless I just named this the same as my last stream. Really confusing for uploads. Okay, so Day Drifting 2. Obviously drifting is probably cheating on Day Drifting 2. I don't know what that drifting word really means. So we're going to just drive in a straight line. We're not mechanical enough to hit this pad every time. Straight line tech. We can't air flip right, because that's mechanical. We can't drift, because drifting's mechanical. Like, I don't know, maybe we'll do like a small one. That's about it. That's about all we're allowed to do. Anything more than that, it's too mechanical for Diamond. Can we side flip over to that thing? I don't think so. Side flips are overpowered. We drive in a straight line. Straight line tech. Literally don't even have my hand on the analog stick. Alright, we'll put it back on. Correct back on course. Like, in Diamond, all you need is to just kind of drive. Like, again, I'm bumping into walls, I'm not drifting. Like, we'll do one small drift, because it's day drifting, and, like, look at them go. But it's just about knowing the shortcuts. haven't done anything, right? Just kind of driving. Straight line tech's overpowered. Maybe we'll hit this green boost pad on one of the 3 laps. I don't know, maybe that's... Dude, that guy's like air flip right aligning to the track. And again, I'll do like a couple small drifts, and that's about it. So we only did like 3 drifts this entire game. And there you go. Yeah, maybe they're using the brake button. Like, maybe. I don't know what else there is. We're just kind of driving. Like, we barely drifted on day drifting, too. We just kind of hovered around. In fact, we had to actively not drift. Like, if we just held our analog stick, it would have drifted us a few times. So we had to try not to drift. Alright, a couple more and we're done too. Yeah, I think about half the maps we need to do a little bit of drifting, and half the maps we don't even need to drift at all. Since I barely rank up. I mean, I don't really care about the rank. I play to get better. So, I am ranking up my skill. Maybe not my rank. And this account's ranking up. Again, we don't know how to drift in the tunnel. Maybe it's a bit too mechanical for us. We're just gonna float along here instead. Drive on the road. This is about all that we can do. Kind of hover in the air. Oh, look at that, we caught up with them. We drift somewhere here in the middle, and there's nothing like... There's like 7 car widths between us and anything to crash onto. And we just drive on the ground again. One small drift. And that's it. That's all we're allowed to do. Besides that, we're kind of just hovering in the air. And this is around Diamond 2 now. And yes, driving in a straight line is enough. We can do one drift around this turn, since literally every single player will drift around that turn. But just knowing this shortcut gets us ahead of everyone else, with drifting significantly less. There was an unofficial tournament that I was a part of. As for official ones, there's no real word. And again, we're back to straight line tech. Driving in a straight line is in fact enough to win at Diamond. We can drift this one small turn, and that's about all we're capable of doing. Maybe we can accomplish one small baby drift. You know, we're Diamond. We can hold it for 1/10 of a second. But in general, we don't know how to drift. We're going to be somewhere in the middle here, so there's nothing remotely close to us for us to crash into. So there's no way we could crash. The easiest possible place to drift. And there we go. Another one. Climbing through Diamond. 3 seconds faster. Well, not really doing anything. Just knowledge of the maps. Yeah, I would love if there was official tournaments though. Like if they did in Rocket League, where it's like only for a couple hours on the weekends, and you could queue a team or something. That'd be pretty fun. Maybe they'll do that in Season 1. This Airborne 1? Okay, so Airborne 1, again. How old am I? I'm ancient. I'm about 87,000 years old. So again, this is a map that, in theory, we need to be able to do a little bit of drifting on. Like, we're hitting Diamond 2, they have a rough concept of what drifting is. Right? So doing a little bit of drifting should be allowed. Especially when there's nothing really besides drifting in this map. So we're going to do one right here. And then we're going to hold this as hard as we can, because we're not good at drifting. We still have to drift and smash into the wall. And then again, there's a turn here, so we can probably do a little bit of a drift. Like that guy did a drift. Seems reasonable, you know? Yeah, I'm 87,000 actually. Yeah. So again, when we do our drifts, we're going to bump into walls, because we're not mechanical. You know, maybe small drifts like this are allowed. We're in Diamond 2. I have full confidence that any Diamond 2 player watching this can, in fact, drift in the middle of nowhere where there's no cars on either side of them for a while. But mostly, we can't drift. The tunnel where it turns, we're going to say we can do a small little one. Small little baby drifts. That's all we can accomplish. Will it be enough? Again, so there's no there's no borders on either side of us. We're strictly in the middle. So I think we're good to go there. Use the catch-up mechanic as much as we can to the very end. And there we go. Minimal drifting gets us first. And I don't really think we're doing anything that any Diamond player can't do. Like, when we do the drifting, sometimes we'll bump into walls intentionally. But normally it's just tiny little half-second or less drifts. Alright. On to the next one. Again, this map, I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. Like, driving in a straight line seems to be enough to win in Diamond. Like, we're just going to do the tiniest little drifts occasionally. like very occasionally. And that's about it. Like nothing that they can't do. None of the tricky spots. Mostly just driving in a straight line. Let's see what we got here. Because driving in a straight line is generally enough. Where you don't have to do anything more than that in Diamond. So all we're doing is driving. This guy knows what's up. Oh, look at them. See, they sneak in drifts. We're doing less mechanics from that. We'll do one like 1/10 of a second one here. Like they're holding it for a long time. We're not doing any drifts, like really. We're just kind of hovering around, driving on the road. This big turn, we'll do one drift, but not like a big one. And that's about it. Also, we're just driving in a straight line. As you can see, driving in a straight line seems to be fast enough. Like we could do a couple baby little drifts, like they're doing right there. That's about it. We're not going to use our turbo yet because we want to make use of the catch-up mechanic. Maybe one baby drift. That's it. Back to driving straight on the road. Because right now we get extra speed from the catch-up mechanic. If we use a turbo, we won't be getting that. So again, one tiny little baby drift. That's all we're doing. We want to stay on the ground as much as possible. If you watch our speed, the guy's shoving us off. He almost forced me to drift. I tried not to. Again, one small drift. That's it. We're not doing anything, right? We're just driving in a straight line. Maybe one tiny little drift. One tiny little drift. And then we turbo. I don't know. Driving in a straight line seems to be enough. If you notice our speed, we're about 100 faster than the base speed. That's because we've been on the ground so much. You know, maybe we make some mistakes. Somehow we can't do baby drifts, and we fly off. That's okay, though. Sounds good, R2. So again, one small baby drift, then we turbo. One small baby drift, then we turbo. And that's all it takes. Also just driving in straight lines. Not quite Diamond 2. We need one more for Diamond 2.
One of 8 billion down in the mud, strange children, lonely and lost, but we still run. Fight 'cause we must. We kill and we survive. Poisonous raindrops. We hope for the day.
All right, this is the one that should get us to Diamond, and Diamond 2. Let me clarify. And again, we're doing almost no drifting, kind of just driving in a straight line. And it really is enough. I don't know how to make it much less mechanical than this. Like, this is like, if you're just tuning in right now, this is about to be so depressing to watch. Like, we're gonna not drift, not like side flip. We're just gonna drive in a straight line, and that's enough to beat Diamond 2 players. Straight line. Like, they all know how to side flip for the boost pads. We don't even know how to drift. We're just literally driving Not drifting. Not warping up and down. Just straight line. That's all the tech we know how to do. They know how to airflip pretty decently, looks like. Not us. We are a straight line main. Oh, look at those boost pads. Shame we don't know how to airflip still. Yes, this is Diamond 2. We're just driving in a straight line without drifting. Is in fact faster than whatever the heck they're doing. I can't get less mechanical in straight lines. We're not air flipping up on any of these boost pads. We're just kind of driving around. We're not hitting both those, we're just hitting one. Realistically, Diamond players 100% should be able to side flip and hit some of those. Like any of them. But we're going to skip every single one and just drive in straight lines. And yeah, I guess I don't know what else to tell you guys. Like, this is enough to win at Diamond. Yeah. I like this song. Oh, we're on lap 3. We haven't even used turbos, by the way, this whole time. We're just kind of floating around. I guess we'll just use our turbos at the end. Continue to drive in a straight line. I don't know. There you go. No drifting. No side flipping. I don't even know where anyone else is. That finishes 8 seconds faster in Diamond. Without drifting, without side flips, without hitting any of the green boost pads on any of the walls or ceilings. I literally don't get it. I kind of want to just add every single one of the players after. And just be like, yo, maybe check this out, see you're in the route. Because the routes alone are in fact enough. And that got us Diamond 2. So we're Diamond 2 with basically minimal drifting. This will give us good insight also on how hard it'll be for us to get Unreal on another account without the drift button bound. Alright, Festivals 1. I mean, there's a little bit of drifting that we have to do. Like, people know how to drift in Diamond 2. You have to do a little bit. But just a little bit. Nothing complicated. Yeah, I don't know what's considered allowed or not allowed in Diamond 2, but we're going to do one drift. And then we're going to pretend we don't know how to drift. So, there you go. We just kind of drove in a straight line. Straight line tech OP. Like, look at them. They're like chain drifting and stuff. We don't know how to do any of that. We're just gonna do like a couple individual drifts. And that's it. That's all we got in our toolkit. Couple beginner drifts. Like he can drift, you can drift. You can drift here, we don't know how to drift. We're gonna like bump into some walls. You know, he's chain drifting, we're just kinda gonna do nothing. Maybe one small drift, and then hover through the waterfall. That's about all we're capable of. Small drift, and small drift. We're going to assume we can't hit that last boost pad, because that might be a bit mechanical. We have too much speed. Again, small drift. Maybe on the third lap we'll try a drift. You know, we hit one boost pad. Because, you know, we found the drift button somehow on the third lap. Third lap we saved a lot of turbos, so we had the catch-up mechanic going for us most of the game. We drift around here, and we turbo up. Somehow we still don't know how to drift, so like we kind of just drive along, maybe do one single drift, and we press the turbo button. There you go! Waiting Festival's fun with, for all intents and purposes, no real drifting. Just staying grounded to the ground increases your minimum speed over time. And that's often enough. I thought by now we'd be doing quite a bit more mechanics, but depending on the map, we still don't even need to use the drift button. So, like here, this map, we literally don't need the drift button. We don't need air flips. We don't need anything. It's Diamond 2. We can just drive in a straight line with no drifts, no air flips, and it's good enough to beat Diamond 2. Like, watch. Straight line tech. Look at us go. We don't know how to drift. Whoa! We're so fast. And again, I think it's just knowing that route. I think the Diamond players don't know that route. So even if we don't know how to side flip, we don't know how to drift, no drifting, no side flipping, Diamond 2, we're just driving in a straight line, it's enough to beat Diamond players. Pretty soundly too. Like I'm positive the Diamond players can side flip and hit those pads over there. But not us. We got no mechanics. All we do is drive in straight lines. Could drift here, but we don't know how. We're low mechanics. So we're just going to drive in a straight line. Like, I'm positive any Diamond players watching this, they can replicate this. We're not flipping up to any of those. Too mechanical. Just kind of driving in a very simple route. Hitting one of those pads sometimes. Not side flipping and taking the boost pads, because that's some level of mechanics. And again, I have no idea where the Diamond players are. Because all we're doing is just driving. Like, we're doing it. I'm positive we can't get much less mechanical than this. And there we go. There's another win at Diamond. I really do think it's like almost responsible to add some of these people. It's like we're so much faster. Like letting them know about the stream. I don't know. Tanner, Rel, Kritika. I don't know. Maybe we'll add them. Let them know. It's like I think it would help a lot of people. Well, that's not very recent. Oh, here we go. Moments ago. This is such a weird way to organize this. Why isn't it by, like... Huh. Yeah, I mean, we just won without drifting, without side flipping, without anything, just driving in a straight line in Diamond 2. I don't know when it gets a little bit trickier, but anyone that's stuck in Diamond, I think, really just needs to learn some of the basic routes. Like, here we go, we got this map again. We're gonna not drift. We're gonna not side flip. We're gonna drive literally in a straight line and absolutely crush all the Diamond players. I kind of want to try a different route, actually, because if we're not drifting around the turn, it might be faster to hover around it. I'm gonna just try that on the first lap. Again, straight line tech. They might be good enough to hit the boost pads, but we're not. Just hover in the air. This guy actually knows the line. Might be our first actual competition. Ish. But again, we're just gonna kind of float around, take the inside edges. We're not gonna take any boost pads because that would require side flipping. And side flipping is a mechanic. In a Diamond 2, somehow I think driving straight with no drifting is good enough. Like, we'll see as it goes, but like I know they can side flip, like that's obviously very mechanical. And everyone else can do it, but we could also just not do it, not drift, not do anything, not swerve in and out of here, just drive in a straight line. We can't side flip to that thing, because that's some level of mechanics. We can, in fact, though, drive in a straight line. And driving in a straight line should be strong enough for us to win in Diamond 2. Just kind of floating around, doing nothing. And yes, this really is just fast enough. Obviously, if we could side flip to any of these, it wouldn't even be a competition. But it's also not a competition not doing that. So if you're stuck in Diamond, just kind of driving straight lines. Like, drift around here if you can. If you can't, you don't need to. Just make sure you're taking this middle path over here. If you can side flip to that, definitely do. If you can't, just line up and hit these two boost pads though. Easy enough. Tap up here, and then just hover around. Again, this is Diamond 2. People get stuck around this rank in Diamond 3. And we didn't use drift. We didn't use air flips. We just drove in straight lines. And we're 4 seconds faster than the other Diamond 2 people. Like, without drifting. Without side flips. Without anything. We're still way faster than the average Diamond player. Which really comes down to Diamond players just not knowing any of the routes, like even remotely. Like obviously the actual route is a lot more complicated than that, but even the most basic fundamental version of that route is enough to crush Diamond without drifting, without side flips, without anything. Let's see what map we get next. You're the goat? Yeah, I mean, just watch me drive in a straight line and see how goat that requires. Like, wow, we can drive in a straight line. We're doing it. We're in first. We're driving in a straight line. We're cracked. Do like one drift for about 1/10 of a second, and that's about all the mechanics we have. Again, this is Diamond 2. I didn't even press the drift button. The game literally forced me to drift there. Here's a big enough turn that I believe any Diamond player should be able to get a little bit of a drift. But again, we're just driving in straight lines, and it's enough to win Diamond pretty handedly. Like maybe we'll do 1/10 of a second drifts sometimes. That's about it. You know, again, 1/10 of a second drift. That's all we're allowed to do. The most baby of baby drifts. Besides that, we're just driving in a straight line. And driving in a straight line is enough to absolutely crush Diamond players. Again, we drift for like, how is this possible? Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's just like this. Like here, again, I didn't press the drift button. All I did was hold my analog stick. It drifted me. Here I drift, but like again, it's not for like super long. It's only for like under a second, right? It's a really wide area. Maybe we'll use a turbo here because we're getting close to full. But again, we're just driving in straight lines. We're not drifting for more than, no, how long was that? 1/10 of a second? Same with here. Boom. That's it. I'm only doing that sometimes. And like, where are they at? Again, 1/10 of a second. Besides that, just straight lines. Can't really get much less mechanics than this for Diamond 2. Like, that was the smallest drift meter I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, it keeps drifting me out of there. I'm not pressing the drift button on that one. This one I am, but again, we're 3 turbos, but do we even need them? Just driving in a straight line without turbos is fast enough to win in Diamond, but I guess we'll use them because we have them. We'll use them in very, very, very safe areas, though. Like, let's line up. We're in a perfectly straight line. We press the turbo button. We wait. Perfectly straight line. We press the turbo button. That's Diamond 2 for you. And we're still 3 seconds faster. So I'm pretty positive getting into Unreal won't be the most crazy thing. I honestly don't know what they're doing, though, to be that much slower. Because, like, we're not doing anything. How are we that much faster? I don't see what we're doing that like they're not doing. Like this one, we won't press the drift button a single time. Right, we're in Diamond 2. No drift button, no air flipping, nothing. We'll still be first by like a sizable chunk probably. Which is like, I don't get it. I wish my content reached a lot more of the Diamond players, because I mean, they'd all just be not Diamond if they knew some of the tricks. All we're gonna do is float in the air. No side flipping, no mechanics, and then jump back up and float again. Drive in a straight line, float again. We can't flip down on these, so if we hit them, we hit them. Because we're not doing any downward flips. Again, just driving in a straight line. We're not going to press the drift button. The game will literally force me to drift if I hold the right analog stick. Okay? That wasn't me pressing the drift button. And again, we're just going to kind of float around the map. There's nothing to crash into, because we're just in the air, floating. This is the speed of Diamond players. We're just kind of floating around, driving in a straight line. If we miss that, that's fine. And again, we're not using the drift button. The game just drifts us, like, by force. Well, that's what I'm saying, Zeus. It's a lot of knowledge, more than, like, heavy mechanics that help people get to Unreal. Because we still haven't pressed the drift button once. We haven't used any side flips or down flips. Like here, if we hit them, we hit them. We can't drift down, we can't flip down to get them. And now I guess we start using our turbos. We'll smash into some walls. We don't have enough for the final one because we didn't use our drift button, because, I don't know, apparently pressing your drift button at all in Diamond is considered extremely mechanical. Alright, another pretty easy win by, again, like over 4 seconds faster without ever pressing the drift button, with no side flips, with only 2 turbos across the whole race because we never drifted. Yeah, I really need my content to reach the Diamond and Platinum population of the game, because anyone that's stuck at those ranks really just needs to learn some of the roots. But I mean, I think it's going to be the same when we get to, like, Elite, and I guess we'll even see in Champion how it goes. Because I'm positive. Okay, so we're going to do a couple drifts here. I mean, we're Diamond 2. We have to assume they could do a little bit of drifting, right? A little bit. But that's it. Just a little bit. That seemed fair? Like, our goal is just to be like, any Diamond 2 player can do what I'm doing. I don't want there to be a single Diamond 2 player that's like, I can't pull that off. Okay, so we're gonna do one small drift. There we go. Is that too mechanical? Again, one small drift. That's it. That's all we're doing. We can't side flip that. They're a lot faster now. Again, maybe one small drift, and that's about it. That's all we're allowed to do. Again, here we'll do maybe a couple small little drifts, give them some little bit of credit. But again, we don't want to drift for more than maybe 1/10 of a second at a time, because, I don't know, anything that requires any bit of drifting is probably too mechanical for Diamond 2. Like, to be considered low mechanics. Just driving in a straight line. We're doing it. So again, we'll do like one tiny little drift, and that's all we're allowed. The rest, we're just gonna hover in the air. We'll do our 2 little drifts here. 1, 2, maybe one more. That seems pretty mechanical for Diamond 2. What do you guys think? Like, drifts that last for about a titch of a second. So we haven't used a turbo yet, and we're still basically keeping up with first place. So we'll use our first turbo. We'll use our second turbo. We'll do our little drift, hover in the air, and then use our third turbo. I don't know, I can't really get less mechanical than that, I think. I'm not sure what we're missing. Like, I'm not sure what the other Diamond players are missing. They're not winning as much, to be honest. Because we didn't drift for more than about 1/4 of a second at a time, and we only did it a few times. And it's still enough to get first. And it's not like they don't know how to drift up this rank. I think them missing that one shortcut is pretty big, though. Yeah, I think they just don't know a lot of shortcuts at this rank. Okay. A little bit of a bug, but that's fine. I think by champion, they know pretty well all the shortcuts. To my knowledge. I don't think there's any shortcuts a champion player wouldn't know. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Alright, what map we get next? Oof. Okay, Olympus. Olympus is a pretty tough one to do completely unmechanically. We'll keep it to a minimum, but there's like 3 main sections that are very wide that you kind of have to drift. And you can't just not drift them. Like they're massive. But in general, we won't do anything that any other Diamond 2 can't do. Let's put it that way. We're just going to drive in a straight line. Straight line tech is good enough most of the time to win a diamond. Zoom, 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 zoom. We'll do one drift around here, since they definitely drift around there. And then we're just going to hover in the air. We're going to assume we can't drift on this, so we're going to wait till we're near the top, so we can ensure that we don't crash into any rocks, because we're low mechanics. Here we're going to drift into the wall, because even though we're Diamond 2, somehow we still can't drift. That seem reasonable? Here, I am a strong believer that this is not mechanical. Pressing jump, and then just falling. Like, we're not doing anything. All we do is press the jump button, and then the curve falls. Here I'm assuming you can jump to the side, because if you can't, you literally can't make it across. So, but we're going to assume we can't drift on the pipe, too mechanical. And then we just saved our turbos, and we turbo across. Line up on the boost pads. No drifting. Let me see what the chat. Can you go over Magneting? Sure. I could go over Magneting after this one. This is the exact opposite of Magneting. We're climbing to Unreal with bare minimum drifting. In fact, we're not even going to drift here. Drifting is maybe a little bit too advanced for Diamond. Like, we're going to try to drift a little bit less. And again, I'm a strong believer that this part right here is not mechanical. You just press jump. You literally just press jump. There's nothing to it. Like, you just wait till you're in a straight line. Instead of driving down, you press the jump button. And again, they're all going to drift in here. We're low mechanics, so we can't drift. We're just hovering around. And this is enough generally to keep up with Diamond 2 pretty easily. We'll do one drift here, because there's not a Diamond 2 that won't drift there. All the golds were drifting there. And we're just going to hover along. We're chilling. No drifting in here. We're going to wait till we're at the very top to start drifting, so there's nothing for us to crash into. We're not even going to drift this, because somehow that's too mechanical for Diamond 2. Do one drift here. And again, you drift. Once you're in a straight line, just press the jump button. That's all I'm asking. And then we're getting to the end. Kind of float past the checkpoints. And use your turbos. And there you go. We did basically minimum drifting. And yeah. Alright, so we got a request from the chat to do how to do a make flip, so I'm just gonna sneak that in real quick. Is there a map that you want to know how to do it on? Because like, how to do it is relative to which map. There's a lot of different make flips in the game that all are very different, and all require different levels, different techniques to get them consistent, to be honest. Yeah, is there one in particular you want? We could do the Festivals 2 one. That one's the most obvious. I mean, not the most obvious. There's plenty that are obvious, but... The concept behind it is basically any platform you could air flip to. I don't think joining my party would accomplish anything for you, though. So I'm gonna say no, because we're just gonna do one demo and then I'm gonna hop back to what I was doing. Okay, so up here is a good example of a make flip. So if you drift left... I didn't have enough speed to get it. Alright, we'll get it on the next lap. My bad. Unless they removed it. I see they patched festivals too, so maybe they did. Who knows? Alright, we'll try again here. Oh, maybe they removed it from there. That's super weird. Okay, we'll pick a different one. Yeah, that used to be like super consistent. And both times there it missed. Yeah, we'll show Cliff Runner too. This one's pretty well impossible to miss. But yeah, I don't know anything more about it besides if there's a platform you could snap to, you just snap to it except a little bit further away and a little bit above where it is. So that it pulls you towards it, but the magnetism kind of wears off by the time you get to it, if that makes sense. At the end of Cliff Runner 2, there's a spot for the make flip, so we'll show it to you there. I'm on Xbox. Sorry, I'm reading the chat at the same time. It's a little bit tricky to do this section. If I'm on Xbox, how should you try it? The same way you try it, how I try it. I'm not sure what you're asking. Pick one of the maps, make flips, and then try it. So like coming up here, there's a make flip on this rock right here. See how it like pulled me towards the rock on an angle? That one's pretty easy to replicate. I'll show it to you one more time, and then I'm gonna hop back to what combos do you do that it does? I side flip. That's it. There's no combo. You drift sideways and then you side flip. And it's not like instead of air flipping over it, you just flip next to it. So just drift and then side flip into it. And it just pulls you into it. That's about all there is to it. Are you Unreal? Because if you're not Unreal, don't even bother with make flips, by the way. Like, and even if you are Unreal, unless you're like pretty high Unreal, don't even bother with make flips. They really aren't that, like, they aren't that cracked compared to just improving your fundamentals on everything else. This is a way better use of your time. Like on this account, I'll definitely be getting into Unreal without a single make flip. We're keeping it low mechanics. I think we got about 20 more minutes. And then we'll continue another day. Okay, so again, this map, we're just going to drive in a straight line. I know we're Diamond 2. But straight line tech is stronger than Diamond 2's. I'm not even joking. Like... We're gonna do 2 drift spots, which are just like massive, and 100% of people from gold upwards will drift there. That's it. Besides that, it's just the route we take and driving in a straight line. That's it. So I don't even have my hand on the analog stick. I'm literally just driving in a straight line. And then here is the one drift spot. So we'll drift around here. That's it. We just drive in a straight line. We're low mechanics, so we can't hit that boost pad. We can't hit that boost pad over there. We just kind of float, and we drive in a straight line. Here we'll do one small drift because it's a tunnel that is drifting left. That's it. Only a tiny little one. And that's all the drifting we're going to be doing. Besides that, it's literally just driving in a straight line. Like, I know this isn't crazy exciting, but this is the skill cap of Diamond 2. One drift. That's all it takes to beat them at Diamond 2. Like, I honestly don't know what they do at this rank that makes them so slow. You know what? We're not even going to drift this. Maybe getting a second drift across the entire map is too tricky. We're just kind of driving in a straight line. Can anyone tell me where they are? Like, is one single drift really enough to crush Diamond players? The answer? Apparently yes. Okay, I didn't even press the drift button. The game literally forces you to. I mean... Yeah, I am a little confused by people getting stuck in Diamond. I really wish my content could reach more people in Diamond, because I don't know what to tell you besides, like, kind of just take this route and drive in a straight line and you crush Diamond 2. Man, I forgot how slow and painful the grind is, though, huh? Been doing this on my No Turbos account. Oh, I forgot how painful that was. If I do get an account to Unreal that has turbos on, that has drifting unbound, we might have to unbind like air dodge's bow. Make it real spicy. I don't know how many handicaps I have to give myself to make it not Unreal. I mean, no mechanics is relative though. Like most of the maps, we don't drift, but like in Diamond on Anaconda, I'm gonna assume you can drift, just not drift well. So I'm gonna crash into every single wall. Right? Like, I'll still drift as little as possible, but they obviously know how to drift. Do no jumping? That's impossible on quite a few maps. So like right here, we're going to drift into the wall, because again, we're going to drift into every wall we can if we drift. Because I think that's, you know, realistic. We're kind of going to look like a mess, you know? But I mean, like, it's Diamond. We can't do zero drifting on Anaconda. All we can do is do zero drifting that doesn't crash me into walls. So every time we drift, we'll smash into a wall. Like, that seems pretty reasonable for, if I'm gonna call it no mechanics. Oh no! Like, there we go. Like, yeah, it's about as no mechanics as we can get, right? And like, this is like doing them a good disservice. Like, they don't, like, if you just watch their lines, they drift perfectly fine. So like, us crashing every single time isn't realistic at all. But we'll still do it most of the time, you know? And there you go. Like we can't really get is jumping and user thrusters the same thing. Technically not. You can bind them to different things. But maps like Anaconda and Sidewinder, like, I don't know, like, I kind of have to do some drifting. The goal is not to, like, do zero mechanics. It's to be able to be, like, any player at that rank that watches this would be like, yes, that is 100% something I could do. You know? I just don't want them. I don't want to like pull off some side flip, mag flip, magnet drift, and then be like, obviously I can't do that. But a lot of the maps, it's just us driving in a straight line. That's enough. But like all the really heavy drift maps, I think I might have to do it where like I just drift without the drift button, like where the game auto drifts me. And maybe that's realistic. Because that's definitely the next challenge we're doing, is having the drift button unbound. And getting to Unreal with no drift button. Like here, there is a few spots you have to drift. Like that 100% of people, players from gold onwards, were drifting. Which is right here. Every single player will do a drift here. Look at this dude! What the heck? That guy's probably smurf. That guy's crazy smurfing. What the heck? And again, everyone can drift around here. Yeah, we got an actual smurf in our game though, but that's okay. We don't drift around most of these. We'll drive in the coals when we do have to drift. What the heck? And again, I'm confident that anyone could press the jump button here. That's a bit of a bummer. It's the first one we've ran into like a real, pretty decent smurf. That's okay. Still doesn't seem that fast, to be honest. But again, we're only drifting when we like here, we didn't even use the drift button. All we're doing is jumping and floating down. We turbo when our thrust, when our fins become full. That's about it. Just kind of floating around. No drifting, unless we absolutely have to, like on large turns. If anyone's wondering, the guy in first is a pretty legitimate smurf. Like, decently high in real. So like sections like this, I believe every player can in fact drift. Same with this. There's about 3 drifts that I'm giving them credit that they can drift. These 3. And then just jump off and float down. That's depressing, this dude smurfing is still like so slow. And that's it. Nothing real tricky. The guy had way too many mechanics for being way too slow. I don't know what the heck he was doing, to be honest. It was like all mechanics, no speed. Alright, we'll get to about halfway through Diamond 2, and then we'll leave it there. Yeah, but if I bind jump and thrusters to different buttons, I'm pretty sure if I press thrusters, it'll still like act as a jump. So no jump wouldn't be too bad if I can use thrusters. I'd have to go through like all the ranked maps and see how many I could do without. It's impossible to do without jump. Yeah. But I could probably try to get Unreal without both drift and without air flip. Maybe both unbound. That would be real tricky though. I think I'd be a menace to the game if I pulled that off. Okay, we're gonna see if they can side flip over to that green boost pad. If they can, we're gonna do it. If they can't, we're not gonna do it. You think that's a bit too mechanical for mid-diamond? I like to hope that it isn't, but... maybe it is. Yeah, they didn't do it. Alright. We're gonna keep drifting to a minimum. We're only in Diamond 2. Obviously, we can't drift too much. By too much, I mean basically at all. Do maybe one drift into this tunnel, and that's about it. A couple small little drifts, that's it. We'll skip the first set of boost pads, so we can assume that it's too hard to hit. And then we're back to driving in a straight line. Straight line tech is overpowered. Like, not really drifting at all. And I'm pretty confident that most Diamond players can not drift. Like, could just choose not to drift. We're gonna assume hitting that green boost pad multiple times in a row might be a bit too mechanical. Again, we can assume we can get like one drift in there. Maybe we can't wait to the right of the tunnel. We get like one in here. And we line up with this one. That's it. Is that really mechanical? Is any of that mechanical? I'm mostly just driving in straight lines and floating around the map. Like, just hovering. But I mean, it seems to be enough to like kind of crush diamond players. This isn't mechanical, right? Just floating around, not drifting. Again, hitting that green pad, maybe a bit too mechanical, so we're not going to do it. Get one small drift into the tunnel, and that's it. And one small drift going into this tunnel. That's it. Like that seems reasonable to me for low mechanics. Like, I think we got 2 baby drifts each lap, and that's it. And assuming they can do less than that is insulting, in my opinion. What do you think? Does that count as fair?
Baby, don't you worry, I'll make sure that you are right. Baby, don't you worry about me, I will be fine. Give you everything that's mine.
Yeah, I think the challenge of no drifting will be good. I don't know if no drifting plus no air flips is a little bit too much.
That we've been dreaming of lies beyond the clouds, beyond the fears, beyond the rain and the tears and the pain. Baby, don't you be afraid. I'll make sure you stay quick if I'm fighting you.
Alright, we're going to implement our secret strategy of driving a straight line tech again. Driving in a straight line, it's enough to crush Diamond 2s. We're going to try to drift less than we usually do, because normally we drift very little. We're going to have to try to drift even less, because we're still winning this pretty easily. So, driving a straight line, no drifting. Here, every player since Gold has been able to drift, so we're going to do one drift here. That one seems super reasonable. And again, here, they can all drift that. We're not going to drift it for long, and we're just going to jump. Again, we're going to drift, but we're going to drift into the wall because, no, we're diamond and we don't know how to drift. And all you need to do is press jump. Press jump and float down. It's not mechanical. You're not going to convince me that's mechanical. Again, we don't know how to drift, so we're not drifting in any of these tunnels. Just kind of floating around. That's all we're able to do. Driving straight lines. Again, every single player since Gold has been able to do this one drift. So let's not like insult them too bad and not do that. Man, watch, you know, they're able to drift this perfectly fine. We're going to float it instead of drifting because we don't know how to drift that confidently, even though it's faster. And again, this isn't mechanical. Wait till you're in a straight line, and then jump. One single jump. That's all we're looking for. Again, we're just kind of floating around the map, doing a bit of nothing. No drifting. Just turboing over the large aerial gaps. Driving in a straight line. This is Diamond 2. And again, every one since gold can drift this one turn, so we're going to drift this one at least a little bit. Maybe we'll turbo across here. And again, every single player can drift this. We're going to assume we can't drift the next one, because maybe that's mechanical. We're also going to assume we can't drift this perfectly, because somehow we're mid-diamond and we haven't learned the fundamentals of drifting. We're not even going to drift this. We're going to casually not drift it and just jump off. Again, just pressing the jump button isn't very mechanical. Us not drifting will give us a turbo short, which is a huge deficit. But since we literally don't know how to drift, there's nothing we can do about that. You know, we're only Diamond 2. I don't think I could do that any less mechanical, not gonna lie. Like, we're just not drifting. Like, it's an actual tougher to not drift than it is to drift on some of those spots. You guys let me know if you think I'm doing anything that's like too mechanical. But most of these maps it's just driving in a straight line. Still about half the maps we don't use the drift button at all. I think for drifting, the most we're allowed to do, unless there's a big section that like is very obvious that everyone drifts, is just small baby drifts. So like here, day drifting 2, are we allowed to drift on day drifting 2? Probably not very much. We're gonna say mostly no. Just the tiniest little drifts occasionally, and that's it. That's all we're allowed to do. Besides that, we're just going to drive in straight lines. No air flipping. Nothing like that. Again, this is Diamond 2. And I definitely can drift in Diamond 2, especially on day drifting 2. So we're just proving that with our game knowledge, we're faster. Specifically shortcuts like this, we can float over. We're not air flipping, we're not doing anything mechanical. In fact, we're not drifting here, which is a lot tougher than drifting, by the way. We'll do one drift here, because like, we have to do some drifting on day drifting 2 at Diamond 2. That's it. That's all we're doing. No side flipping to get that boost pad. Nothing like that. Just driving in straight lines. Yes, this is Diamond 2. Like, I don't know how to like make this less mechanical than not drifting on day drifting 2. Like, we'll miss the boost pad. Does that make it tougher? Like, again, we'll do like a tiny little drift. Because, like, they know how to do some form of drifting, right? Or should I not be drifting at all at Diamond 2? Like, what rank is drifting allowed? Kind of just driving in straight lines, and it absolutely demolishes Diamond players. Like, it's actually harder to not drift this, by the way. Like, if I just held the analog stick, it would drift. But you know what? Let's make it even harder. Like, here, let's just not even drift at all. Because I know someone's going to be like, well, I'm Diamond 2 and I don't know the drift button yet. I'll be like, I don't know about that, but you say so. What do you think? Is that unmechanical enough? Not drifting on day drifting 2 and still coming 5 seconds faster in Diamond? No side flips. I don't know how to make it less mechanical. What do you guys think? Is it in the realm of reasonable what I'm doing for Diamond? Like, is driving in a straight line too mechanical? I really don't know. I imagine that, like, Diamond 3 or Elite, just driving in a straight line isn't going to cut it anymore. But alright, this will be my last one. We're going to drive no turbos. Oh, no, sorry, not no turbos, obviously. No drifting. No drifting, no side flips, because somehow we're almost Diamond 3 and we don't know how to drift or side flip. Because those are both too mechanical. We're just going to drive in a straight line. Okay, we got shoved off of that one. We got shoved off that one too. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We don't need them. We're just going to float around. No jumping up to the ceiling. None of that. No side flipping on these. Those all might be considered mechanics that Diamond 2s can't do. Maybe they don't have any of that bound. And they don't know what drift does. So instead they can only drive in straight lines. Can they get to Elite by driving in straight lines? Probably. Like, it's more work to not drift this than it is to drift it. We still haven't used a turbo yet. We're still on par with this dude over here. All we're doing is kind of floating around. Like, you can bet he's not driving down here. Like, are we really doing anything that a Diamond player can't do? We're just not drifting, not air flipping, driving basically as straight line as possible. Like, it's more work to not drift this than it is to drift it. So, you know, drifting might be considered too tricky. So we're just going to drive in a straight line, not go for a bunch of the boost paths, just a couple of them. Do we air flip here? No, because we have no mechanical skill. We just drive in straight lines. We saved all our turbos to the end, so the catch-up mechanic wouldn't punish us. And again, can we air flip to these? No. We can't do anything. We just drive in straight lines, and it's enough to absolutely destroy Diamond 2s. So if you're in Diamond, probably learn a couple of the routes, because if no drifting and no air flipping, and basically none of the boost pads is enough to beat you by 4+ seconds, something's up. Alright, one last one. Then we're calling it. So when do you guys think it starts to become a bit more of a challenge? Like that I actually need to do something? I think Diamond 3, Elite, Champion. We're just kind of driving in straight lines, doesn't let me just come first repeatedly anymore. 'Cause I think a lot of the maps, it's enough. Okay, Sidewinder, again, so for anyone that's new that watching, what I'm doing is I just am going to play without my drift button. So when the game auto drifts me, it drifts me. Like, I can't handicap myself more. Like I don't know how to make Sidewinder less mechanical besides that. So not the most exciting conclusion of the stream. Me actually doing a little bit of drifting. But not with the drift button, so there'll be sloppier drifts. And again, we're just going to drive in as many straight lines as possible on the road. And again, we're holding our right stick, and eventually our car drifts. That's all we're doing. We're going to hit the lava too sometimes, really balance it out, because apparently drifting at all is considered slightly mechanical, even when I'm not using the drift button. And this is all without the drift button. It just activates sometimes on its own if you hold it for long enough. Where is the rank 1 person? Oh, that's me. Never mind. And we're just driving in a straight line. We're gonna hit lava sometimes because some reason they just drive through lava often. And yeah, see, look, they drove through lava. I don't know. Driving in a straight line is a little bit too much of a mechanic, I think, for Diamond 2 sometimes. Yeah, we're not pressing the drift button. Our car is just sometimes drifting because we are holding it. Here, we're just going to go up the ceiling and come back down. Yeah, we can't do this much less mechanically than this, not using the drift button. I was trying to see if I could get one to start there automatically, but no such luck. So again, we still haven't touched the drift button the whole time. We should have 3 turbos by the end here. Assuming the game lets us drift a little bit. That'll give us 3 for the end. So there you go. I think that's the least mechanical way we can make it. Plain Sidewinder without the drift button. Alright. We'll get to Elite another day. Then Champ. And then Unreal. Playing with as minimal mechanics as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. Press the like button on the way out.